Live from WPRI 12. This is Eyewitness News at 6. Coverage you can count on.
New in Eyewitness News at 6, we're learning more about what may have driven a suspected killer to commit murder on Christmas Eve. And a local teacher on the brink of losing her job over a classroom assault is getting support from one city leader. New at 6 tonight, we're working the latest in a Christmas Eve killing. The suspect, accused in a deadly shooting last December, is being held without bail tonight, 2 days after being arrested in Maine. Daquan Watts was arraigned on a first-degree murder charge today. And new at 6 tonight, we're learning more about a possible motive. Eyewitness News reporter Susan Campbell is live outside Providence District Court with what she's uncovered.
According to court documents, police believe several people were involved in this murder, and they tell me they believe it was all sparked by an ongoing feud. A suspected killer is back in Rhode Island and facing murder and conspiracy charges. Police tell Eyewitness News they tracked down Daquan Watts in Maine earlier this week. The 20-year-old is accused of killing Ryan Almeida in Pawtucket on Christmas Eve. We went to Watts' last known address. The man who answered the door said he hadn't seen Watts in a while, but says he is surprised that Watts is accused of murder.
You don't seem like that type of kid.
We've learned police also charged a 17-year-old with murder in this case. According to court documents, the boy admitted to driving the vehicle to the murder. He told police Watts and another man were out of the car for about 5 minutes. Then they returned to the car out of breath and later told him that Watts shot Almeida. The documents also say this shooting occurred out of retaliation for another shooting.
There was some type of feud that began in the city of Providence that ended up coming here to Pawtucket.
We asked Major Arthur Martins if that feud was gang-related.
It's possible. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I know there was some type of dispute that caused this reaction.
Court documents also revealed that the murder was caught on surveillance camera. Police tell me that helped them crack the case. Live with the Providence Mobile Newsroom, Susan Campbell, Eyewitness News.
New at 6 tonight, a Providence teenager admits playing a role in the murder of a 12-year-old girl last summer. 19-year-old Angel Valerio pleaded guilty today to 3 counts of assault with a dangerous weapon and conspiracy in the shooting death of Ines Vargas. Under the plea agreement, Valerio is not required to testify against the other 3 teens charged in the crime. Valerio faces up to 13 years in prison. New developments tonight in a story we've been tracking closely. Tonight, a New Bedford city leader is standing behind a teacher who could lose her job following a classroom assault that was caught on camera right here. School officials say she is facing disciplinary action for failing to report the attack. Eyewitness News reporter Mara Kennedy is live now in Bedford with the Southeastern Massachusetts Mobile Newsroom with more on what she's learned.
In less than 1 hour, City Council will meet behind me and may unify in any opposition, or rather, they will unify in opposition against any disciplinary action taken against New Bedford teacher Joanne Mara. And tonight we're hearing from one very outspoken counselor at large, Brian Gomes. This cell phone video taken more than 2 weeks ago shows 18-year-old Kamar Rosales throwing a chair at teacher Joanne Mara after she confiscated his cell phone. The student has since been expelled, but now she may lose her job for accusations of not notifying officials of the incident in writing.
What procedure do you follow when a chair is being launched at you? What procedure do you follow when you have an out-of-control classroom? I think the procedure you follow is the way she handled it. She handled it the best as she could.
Counselor at large Brian Gomes wants to publicly support Mara and the actions she took in this situation. In a previous interview with Eyewitness News, Mara told us she notified administration immediately about the boy's behavior over the phone.
When you're around this all day long and this type of activity against the system, it's wrong and it has to be addressed.
Tonight at the City Council meeting, he's going on the record to support Mara and ask the other counselors to do so as well. The New Bedford Teachers Union President Lou St. John is grateful for the support.
If they want to have an investigation, that's fine. I don't have a problem with an investigation. But I do have a problem when they're saying that, you know, you've done something wrong and this could result in your termination.
We have reached out to Superintendent Pia Durkin. She has not returned any of our messages, and the meeting starts tonight at 7. We'll have more on Eyewitness News at 10 and 11. Live in New Bedford, Mara Kennedy, Eyewitness News.
We have an update now on a Target 12 investigators exclusive. A rookie Warwick police officer who in a police report admitted drinking and texting before he hit another car in an off-duty collision received almost $1,000 in vacation pay after he resigned. Target 12 found out Zachary Davis was also eligible to withdraw almost $4,000 in pension money he contributed during his 5 months on the police force. He was required to pay the city about $1,000 in unused health care payments. According to the initial report about Davis's December head-on collision, it left out several details about the incident, including his admission that he drank and texted right before the crash. In February, 2 officers were disciplined for the omissions, and Davis resigned. Now, news since our 5 o'clock news, Target 12 is digging deeper into a new federal report on the Boston Marathon bombing case. We just obtained that Inspector General report. It includes a reference to an FBI interview with North Kingstown native Catherine Russell, who was also married to accused bomber Tamerlan Tsarnaev. The report points out she was interviewed after the bombings and that she was available to be interviewed before the bombings when her husband was on the terrorist watch list. But the report concludes it can never be known if an interview with Russell before the bombings would have provided the same information gathered about him after the attack. The goal of the report was to examine the way federal agencies shared information about Tsarnaev before the assault. We'll continue to look through these documents. We'll have a live report coming up on Eyewitness News at 6:30. Right now, the new chairwoman of the House Oversight Committee is holding her first hearing on the 38 Studio scandal. The panel is looking into issues related to the state's lawsuit over the collapse of Curt Schilling's video game company. Karen Macbeth says she wants to subpoena key figures connected to the deal and that the committee is scheduled to discuss potential witnesses today to testify before it. Eyewitness News reporter Marilyn Scherer is live outside the State House now with the very latest.
Mike, the purpose of today's committee was to get all 13 committee members up to speed and for the new committee chair of the Oversight Committee to outline plans for what could be a long process of delving into the 38 Studios debacle.
And that is what is in front of us today.
Representative Karen Macbeth, who is now the new chair of the House Oversight Committee on the failed 38 Studios deal, called to order her first meeting Thursday. Macbeth says the hearings are about finding the truth and accountability over the collapse of the video game company and the $75 million loan guarantee.
Who knew and when did they know? And absolutely to make sure it doesn't happen again.
Macbeth says no stone will go unturned, and if it means they'll need to subpoena potential witnesses, they will.
Absolutely, Curt Schilling would be on that list. We'd have Steve Constantino, who was the chairman at the time that spoke about this bill that we voted on a few years back.
Schilling, of course, is the brainchild of 38 Studios. Other possible witnesses, she says, former Governor Carcieri and former House Speaker Gordon Fox. She says the people of Rhode Island deserve transparency.
Maybe it is extraordinary. We've never been through this before, and certainly the speaker's never had to go through a subpoena process. But I think at this point we're years into this, and we want the answers, so we'll do what it takes.
Now, as far as that lawsuit goes, the committee may discuss sending a staff attorney to the hearing tomorrow that's requesting depositions and all evidence in the 38 Studios lawsuit be unsealed. Now, Macbeth says whether or not that evidence is unsealed could determine how much work this committee will have in the entire process. Reporting live with the Providence Mobile Newsroom, Marilyn Scherer, Eyewitness News.
We're also learning tonight that Curt Schilling, who is battling cancer, has completed chemotherapy treatment. The former Red Sox ace posted an update on Twitter Tuesday night. He also tweeted that his next step is radiation treatments. We first learned in February that Schilling had been diagnosed with cancer. He has not disclosed what type he has or his prognosis. There is more coverage you can count on coming up on Eyewitness News at 6. News alert: as we approach the one-year anniversary of the Boston Marathon bombings, officials are warning about a scheme they do not want you to fall victim to. New purpose, big plans for an historic lighthouse, details and what could replace this once beacon of light on Connecticut Point.
Well, gusty winds off the ocean, keeping things cooler for today. I'll let you know if we can get some milder air in time for the weekend. Your 7-day futurecast coming up. You're watching Eyewitness News. It's coverage you can count on.
Two details now on a story we first brought you as breaking news last night. Now, the Bedford police found a 17-year-old who had been stabbed twice on Sawyer Street around 9 o'clock. Was rushed to Rhode Island Hospital, where he's now in stable condition. The teen from Randolph, Massachusetts, had first given a false name to the hospital since he had outstanding warrants from the Department of Youth Services. He's currently in their custody at the hospital. A former Providence official and key player in the Operation Plunderdome scandal has lost his part of a fight to win a city pension. Providence Journal reports the state Supreme Court has postponed a hearing on the appeals case of former Providence mayoral aide Frank Correnti. Correnti, who was convicted of federal corruption charges in 2002, is appealing a city retirement board decision denying him a tax credit on a lump sum pension payment. Correnti was the top aide to former Providence Mayor Vincent Buddy Cianci. A news alert for you now. The Better Business Bureau is warning you about phony charities aimed at this year's Boston Marathon. After last year's outpouring of support for the One Fund Boston, the BBB believes fake charities could pop up. They're urging donors to carefully check their charities. We have an official list of Boston Marathon charities on our website, WPRI.com. More local coverage coming up on Eyewitness News at 6. A once beacon of light could soon become a welcoming sight if one company has its way. Details coming up.
Well, some showers in the forecast for part of tomorrow. We'll get a more detailed look at the timing, when it's dry and when it's wet. All the details coming up next.
The Stock Report is brought to you by Janney Montgomery Scott, LLC. Trusted advisors for generations.
Now at 6, a Rhode Island lighthouse could soon be converted into an inn. The same company that restored the Borton Flats Lighthouse in Fall River and opened it as an inn is now hoping to do the same thing to the Connecticut Point Lighthouse. Eyewitness News reporter Madeline Wright has the details now from the West Bay Mobile Newsroom in Warwick.
The Connecticut Shoals Lighthouse has been a historic landmark for years. If the City Council approves, it could also be a place with bedrooms where guests can stay overnight. Imagine this lighthouse being open to the public for one of the very first times, with tours of the top floor, field trips for school children, and 4 bedrooms for overnight stays on weekends. That's the vision of Warwick Mayor Scott Avedisian.
There's a tremendous amount of history to this lighthouse in particular, but it is a real signature to this city.
The mayor says despite the lighthouse's beauty, it's deteriorating. But he says a company called New England Lighthouse is willing to fix it.
It's about $100,000 worth of work that they will put into it.
The job includes painting, cleaning, asbestos removal, and more, none of which will cost the taxpayers. People I talked to had mixed opinions.
I love lighthouses and the beach, and so I've always wanted to stay in one, so I think it'd be pretty cool.
Sounds like kind of a foolish thing to do. I can't figure out how they're going to get there unless they're going to extend a boardwalk on the point out to the lighthouse.
The developer admits he hasn't worked out all the details, but the mayor of Warwick says the project would boost tourism and generate tax revenue through the rooms, which would cost about $300 a night. The city wants to lease the lighthouse to the developer for 15 years and open it as an inn next year. The mayor's office says they expect the city council to talk about the proposal at one of their meetings in May. In Warwick with the West Bay Mobile Newsroom, Madeline Wright, Eyewitness News.
In more local coverage tonight, runners can now explore the city of Providence in a whole new way. City Running Tours is coming to the capital city on Earth Day. That is Tuesday, April 22nd. Runners can take part in 3 different tours. Now you can learn more about the city's waterfront, the history of Providence, or the city's many secrets. Providence is one of 14 cities across the country that will host city running tours. And you can now use the word geocache when you play the game of Scrabble. Geocache beat out 15 other nominated words in the Scrabble Word Showdown. The winning word will now be included in the upcoming 5th edition of Merriam-Webster's official Scrabble Players Dictionary. Geocache has been nominated by fans on the Pawtucket-based Hasbro Game Night Facebook page last month. The word is used as part of a game where players find hidden objects with a GPS device.
Now, here's Chief Meteorologist Tony Petrarca with your live Pinpoint Doppler 12 Futurecast.
Well, the Scrabble word I'm using this evening is, how about blustery? Because you get more points with blustery instead of gusty. But yeah, the wind really picking up, and time's up to 30 miles per hour. And the problem is that, unlike yesterday, it's coming in off the ocean. The ocean's cold, so the coastline has temps now that are only in the 40s. Doppler radar, the air is extremely dry. Skies are clear, so no precipitation. Real pretty sunset in progress, or very shortly, in about an hour. Just a few thin clouds on the western horizon. Temperatures range from 52 in Providence, Gloucester at 51, but the coastline mid and upper 40s. You throw in that wind, and it feels colder, so it's kind of windbreaker sweater weather this evening. 51 Gloucester, Smithfield at 54, but you can see almost 10 degrees colder in Newport. Unlike yesterday, we had the wind coming in off the land. Today, the wind coming in off the ocean, which is running at around 44 degrees. So that's cold. And the wind from the south and southwest, that component of wind bringing in that cool ocean air. All right, satellite photos showing the clear skies, but also take note to our north and west through upstate New York, some clouds and showers. This is our next weather maker. Now, as it approaches tomorrow during the day, it'll weaken somewhat. So there are some showers in the forecast for tomorrow day. I just think the better chance is tomorrow evening, tomorrow night. Futurecast shows us well. Starts off at this evening with clear skies and clear the first part of the night, clouds late at night. Now, here we are tomorrow morning. Take note, at 8 a.m., the temperatures are in the 50s, so a mild start. You don't see a lot of green on the map, which would indicate widespread rain. However, it can't rule out an isolated, brief passing shower both during the morning and into the afternoon. Also draw your attention to these yellow numbers. These are the temperatures. Look how warm it gets away from the coastline by tomorrow afternoon, around 65 degrees, very mild. Subtract about 10 degrees along the south shore. And we're not surprised to see a little partial sunshine through the cloud cover. So tomorrow day is not a washout, but this is Friday evening, Friday night. You start to see a more generous area of green work in. That is some steadier rain. But the good news, most of it should be out of here by Saturday morning, so looking good. Futurecast for this evening, a clear start, then increasing clouds, blustery, gusty, however you want to look at it. It's windy. Tomorrow morning, mostly cloudy, milder, a brief shower, nothing more than that. It's already in the 50s, mid to upper 60s tomorrow afternoon, but keep in mind, those are the numbers away from the ocean, closer to the coastline in the 50s. And again, an isolated shower, though most of the time during the daylight hours, it's dry. Rain on Friday night. It's gone on Saturday, becoming partly to mostly sunny, 63. Sunday still looks good with some sunshine. Even warmer on Monday before we bring a heavy rainstorm on Tuesday. Could be quite a soaking on Tuesday. Stay tuned with cooler weather returning Wednesday and Thursday of next week. Quick hello to the students in Cranston. First of all, you can download the Channel 12 app through iTunes on your iPhone or on your Android smartphone as well. And I want to say hello to the students at the Waterman School in Cranston. Stopped by this morning talking all about weather. And what was interesting is that they knew everything. So everything that I went over at my spiel, they knew everything about the water cycle, thunderstorm safety. So it was kind of a review, but we had a wonderful time.
So when you take a vacation, they can fill in for you.
There's future meteorologists there.
All right, thanks, Tony. Okay. Here's what we're working on now for Eyewitness News at 6:30 over on Fox Providence. Steve Nielsen is here with a preview.
Well, Mike, the one-year anniversary of the tragic Boston Marathon bombings is fast approaching, and coming up new at 6:30 on Fox Providence, we're taking a look at how all of us can handle the traumatic images 1 year later.
Then later on Eyewitness News at 10 on Fox Providence, imagine calling 911 and getting nothing but busy signals. Details on a 911 outrage that forced a woman to take matters into her own hands during a break-in. And on Eyewitness News at 11 right here on WPRI 12, days after beginning repairs on millions of recalled vehicles, General Motors discovers another part in need of repairs.
Now, Eyewitness Sports with Yanni Caracas.
Jacoby Ellsbury, a homegrown talent in the Red Sox organization, played 7 years in center field for the team, winning 2 World Series. We all knew he was gone after last year, but for Sox fans, it was cringe-inducing to see him go to the evil empire. Ellsbury and the Yanks welcome in the Red Sox tonight. The start of a 4-game set. It, of course, will be the first time Ellsbury faces his former team, and he's had a nice start to the year, batting .364, leading the team in hits and stealing 4 bases. It will be Clay Buchholz and Michael Pineda in the pitching matchup. It's the Final week of the NHL regular season. The Bruins are in Winnipeg tonight for their third-to-last game before the playoffs. The Bees still hold on to the best record in the league, a distinction that would give them home ice advantage for the duration of the Stanley Cup playoffs. College football may be a long ways away on the sports calendar, but it's the here and now for new head coach Jim Fleming and URI football, taking part in spring practice as we speak. For Fleming, this month of practice will be key to establish a new culture, hard work, discipline, all the things you'd expect to see on a locker room bulletin board. Ultimately, you need talent, and Fleming says he has that in Kingston. Now it's just about putting it all together.
I think talent-wise right now, we've got a solid group of kids that run around and what I'm hoping to present to everybody and anticipate and expecting to happen. You know, I'm looking forward to the group. It's got a good heartbeat, and we're, put it together and go win some games.
Moses Brown hosting North Kingstown in lacrosse. The Quakers had all kinds of success early on in this one, and why not when you execute offensive plays like this? That makes it 2-1 Moses Brown. Still in the first half, the Quakers put the ball on net. Good things happen. That goal makes it 3-1 Quakers. Then Moses Brown going low on the shot to convert. Moses Brown jumps out to a 5-1 lead. We'll have an update for you on this one tonight on the Sports Wrap. Barrington hosting LaSalle in girls lacrosse. The Lady Rams had their chances. Kendall McCartney off the stoppage would be stoned by Kate Clancy. Then it's McCartney maneuvering to point-blank range, but she can't connect. Barrington, meanwhile, no problems on offense. Annabella Gagliano spins and scores. Then it's Elizabeth Dolan converting off the nice entry pass. Eagles all over the Rams by a final of 13-3. First round of the Masters underway at Augusta National. Last check at the leaderboard. American Bill Haas in the lead. Adam Scott and Bubba Watson among those in contention. Play is still ongoing. Highlights tonight at 10 and 11.
It was incredible driving by golf courses today. And how many people were out there were jealous?
Actually, a good golf weather this weekend. Now, a couple of showers tomorrow during the day. I just think the better chance is tomorrow evening and tomorrow night, but we get rid of it in time for Saturday and Sunday, along with pleasant temperatures, so not bad.
All right, Tony, thank you very much, and thank you for watching. We'll have more on Fox Providence at 10. We're back here for Eyewitness News at 11. The CBS Evening News is coming up next. For more local news, please turn over to Fox Providence next at 6:30. Have a good night.